Thank you for your interest in the Kiewit Design-Build Program, a partnership between Kiewit Corporation and the University of Colorado Boulder. This program was established in the fall of 2020, and the purpose is to provide students with many opportunities to learn more about the world of infrastructure engineering and construction. Kiewit is one of the largest and most well-respected engineering and construction companies in North America. Their infrastructure engineering headquarters is right in our backyard in South Denver. This proximity provides extensive opportunities for you if you choose to join the program. The first opportunity is through scholarships. The Kiewit Design-Build program supports dozens of students each year, and the first cohort was selected in the fall of 2020. In addition to significant financial assistance, scholarship recipients have access to all of the opportunities within the program. The next pillar of the program includes experiential learning opportunities, such as training and site visits.
Kiewit Foundations comes in with their big drill rig that you can see. It's holding the cage right now over there, but another drill rig will drill into down to refusal, down into the bedrock, and they're injecting this cement slurry into the earth, and that'll harden up and push the groundwater out enough so that we can come by an open trench, dig that out.
Students in the program will be enrolled in a mentorship opportunity to meet with professionals at Kiewit to learn more about the industry. There will also be opportunities for peer-to-peer mentorship as juniors and seniors are able to share their experiences with freshmen and sophomores. The program also provides guidelines for your courses to set you up for success in your career. Lastly, students in the program will be given a shot at an internship and employment at Kiewit. There is no better way to see if the engineering and construction industry is right for you than to do a test drive. If this program sounds like something you'd like to pursue, and infrastructure engineering and construction is an interest of yours, please consider applying for the scholarship. To learn more about the work that Kiewit does, to see if it's right for you, please watch the following info session to understand their core business. Thank you, and we're looking forward to hearing from you.
I guess the question that I want to address is you might wonder why the leadership program for the scholars at Kiewit. And in all honesty, we've never seen this much demand for engineering, and in particular engineering leaders. And that's across the industry, but certainly true for Kiewit. We're in a big growth spurt right now. We would hire maybe 800 engineers a year, normal growth. We've been hiring more like 1,500 engineers a year, and now it looks like with all the opportunities that we have, we're going to be hiring somewhere between 2,500 and 4,000. Combination of new hire engineers right out of school, like you would be, and experienced engineers. Much of what Chris talked about in our Lone Tree office, we built that organization with a number of experienced engineers to seed the organization, and now we've started to bring in engineers and develop and grow our talent from within. That's normally the way Kiewit grows, is from within. We promote from within, and so that's what we want to do in the engineering fields as well. You're going to find most construction contractors hiring for the industry. A lot of them hire engineers, but they're not hiring them to do engineering. So we're hiring engineers to be both designers, engineering designers, as well as to manage and lead our construction projects. So I would say that's one of the things that makes us unique. And I'll talk a little bit about the kind of work we do, but what we're really looking for in you, and this is kind of the clue as you fill out your scholarship applications, is tell us about yourself, what you are, what it's all about you. We're looking for people that have high energy, have a lot of passion for what they're going to do. We hope you all want to strive to have impact on society, not just for the company you work, but overall do things that are meaningful and will help grow our societal infrastructure needs. Obviously, big plus is a strong technical background, but you need to be able to communicate and show that you can communicate both in writing and orally in an interview. Show your curiosity. What I've found over my career is that the curious people are the ones that move ahead the fastest. And show your creativity. We understand that people coming right out of school are going to have a lot of creativity while they're learning. We always say they ask the dumb question, but it's not a dumb question. It's a question that opens up a lot of possibilities. And so we want you to be able to do that. And then demonstrate that you have the understanding of what leading is about. And that might be through some of your activities that you've been involved with, an opportunity where you've already had a chance to learn what leadership is and how you could have an impact and grow in that. As we go to the next slide here, Chris, just briefly, I'll mention that what you're going to get from the program is a lot of opportunities to get exposed to people in our company and other leaders that we bring in as experts, practitioners. And from that, you get your exposure of yourself to them, and that may open up opportunities for internships. We have a very active mentoring program. We'll talk about that a little later, that we think adds a lot of value because it gives you access to practitioners. So you can get advice when you ask for it. You can get your questions answered. And we're not necessarily trying to sell you on going to work for Kiewit. Obviously, if you're really talented and you want to make sure that you're matched up at a win-win for you there. But it's really to help you identify kind of your paths in where you're headed. And while you're in school, it may help you select some electives, some design electives as you get further in your curriculum. So we'll have a chance for a few questions at the end. Let me tell you a little bit about the things that we do, because that's what I'm most proud of. I always talk to my family about we helped build that, or we did that. So let's just walk into there. Kiewit's not a common name. It takes a little while just to pronounce it. We've been recognized by Forbes magazine, that's a business magazine, as the largest invisible builder. We're usually ranked in the top 5 contractors in the US. And big isn't mean better, because our goal is to be the best, not necessarily just the largest contractor on earth. So here you see, some of you watched the Super Bowl. This is SoFi Stadium. That's something that we were a part of. So, we work in a lot of different market areas. Last year, we did about $12.5 billion worth of revenue. It's hard to I can't even fathom what $1 billion is. We have been in the Fortune 500 for over 20 years in what we do. And we do a lot of different things. We work in the power market. That includes renewables as well as some traditional sources of power. The transportation market, we're probably the largest transportation builder in North America. Water and wastewater kinds of projects, building projects are a big part of what we do. Oil, gas, and chemical, and that's transforming to a lot of hydrogen, other types of renewable fuels, low carbon, net zero carbon projects. And then we've got a small but growing, very rapidly growing industrial group that builds everything from food processing to beer to you name it. And then we've traditionally had a mining group, and we operate some mines, and some of that goes because we're good at moving earth. We can also do mining as well. We do, as Chris said, we do a lot of design build work. That's what really makes us unique, is that we have all that capability in-house. And this year, our backlog looks like about 62% design build or engineer, procure, construct. That's the same thing, work. So you can see a large percentage of our work is negotiated. It's not what we refer to as rip and read or low price. We are a value contractor. And as you can see, we do small projects as well as we do very large projects. I think we've got about 40 pursuits right now over $1 billion. So, if we win a third of those, that's going to be a lot of work, and our backlog continues to grow. So we need a lot of people to actually do that work. Let's go on to the next slide. I'm going to go through these next ones rather quickly. We do a lot of transportation projects as you drive through Denver. You'll see Central 70. We've torn a lot of that out, rebuilt it already. We are within a year probably of wrapping that project up. You know, we do a lot of those kind of projects. Here's some of the other rankings, power, kind of the various areas of power from solar to wind to hydro. We were just awarded they'll be the next largest solar. We're working on the largest solar project in Texas. The next largest one will be going in Las Vegas. So lots of opportunities, and that is just, these are growing fields for us. So we design and construct in those markets. Let's go to the next slide here. Talked about transportation. It's not just roads, but bridges, tunnels, airports, a lot of port work. We're building a large submarine base for the U.S. government up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire right now, and we're looking at projects in Hawaii and in the West Coast as well. So there's going to be a lot more work of that type. Let's go to the next slide. Water markets. This is a picture of a couple of years ago. There was a failure of a dam, Oroville Dam, out in California, and we were the only contractor really that could come in and get that thing back in and rebuild within a year or so, so they could get for the wet season out in California. So you can see this is about a half a mile. What you see there, that spillway is about a half a mile long. Concrete in that is about 8 feet thick. So these are amazing projects. I think we had 650 pieces of equipment on there from the excavation work and the rock and the drilling and blasting, and then the concrete and batch plant work there too. On to the next slide there. Power, I mentioned that earlier, is one of our big markets, and you're seeing today the pivot toward renewables in there. And we're also involved in some small scale nuclear opportunities that are coming along, and then continue to clean up the old dirty coal plants and take the carbon out. And so there's a whole lot of carbon capture work. We've built the largest and continue to, we just got another one to take carbon out of other types of projects. You're going to learn in school a lot. That's a very common thing. If we go to the next slide here, this transmission work is a big part of it. These large scale solar farms, acres and acres and acres. In fact, I should say thousands of acres of solar panels out there. Let's go to the next. One of the areas, and in certain markets, we're more visible than others. Denver is one area. We do a lot of building work. This is our headquarters building in Omaha. We build in Washington, D.C. area. Can't tell you about that stuff. A lot of that market out there is for the government. Texas, Austin, Texas, a lot of opportunities down there. So the building guys we go where the work is and take on these larger, more complex types of building projects. That's our niche. And then let's go to the next slide, Chris. We'll talk a little bit about the industrial markets. This is the largest grain terminal in the world, a G3 export facility in Vancouver, British Columbia. We built this. Our client, the Saudi government, or some Saudis, invested in this. And you can see the scale of these. If you look closely, you see some trucks or things or railroad cars in there. You realize how large these slip-form silos are. So very complex industrial processing facilities, lithium mines, all kinds of things, pulp and paper mills that we do as well. So a lot of engineering needs in this. You don't build this with low skills. You have to have a lot of skills, and your engineering foundation you're going to get at the University of Colorado at Boulder are going to really help you and open some opportunities for you to grow in these fields. Let's go to the next slide here, Chris. This is the oil, gas, and chemical. And you look at me and you see I'm an older guy. I started my career out in Saudi Arabia. I worked on a large LNG facility in Saudi to export natural gas. And this facility right here was originally built, didn't have all those tanks, didn't have all that processing equipment in the front end. It was originally built to bring in the natural gas, liquefied natural gas from Saudi. About 7 years ago, we were hired to come in and turn this into an export facility. Now the US is exporting natural gas. And right now, with everything that's going on in Europe as a result of Ukraine, this is a strategic facility for the offtake of this product to go to Europe to help keep those folks warm so they don't have to buy gas from Putin over there. And more of these are being built. They were kind of getting to a point where we're trying to go green in everything we do. Natural gas is one of those fuels that is still pretty clean. And so you're going to see a lot, I think we're going to see a lot more of that here in the next few years as a bridge until we get fully into renewable fuels and a blend of things that are a lot cleaner. So the oil, gas, and chemical field is mostly headquartered. The design groups are down in Houston for that. But our construction projects kind of go around the coast because typically these have a processing facility that then leads to exporting fuel. We just picked up another $2 billion one of these projects yesterday. So that work's going to be there, just adds to our backlog. Let's go to the next slide. So one of the things that, you know, we talk about those and kind of everybody thinks about us as a construction company, they don't realize is that we have about 3,000 engineers, you know, in the oil and gas and chemical space, in power, we've got about 1,000, in industrial, we've got about 200, and in infrastructure, we've got about 1,100, and we're going to grow that by about 400 this year in Denver. And probably an equal number, we're going to add an engineering group down in Mexico as well. We've got some work down there. And so we'll be adding our engineering actually out of some of the schools down there probably. So you can kind of see we get to build some cool stuff, you know, cable stayed bridges, things like that. These are landmark structures that are out there that quite honestly, there aren't too many people in the world that can build them. So we feel pretty good to have that engineering capability. Go to the next slide here because, you know, one of our key bridge guys is a Colorado graduate, Walter Eggers, and you may have an opportunity to hear him speak. This is our engineering office in Lone Tree. This is where he offices out of. He's called in to do all kinds. Well, chief bridge engineer, he was a lead consultant on that SoFi Stadium. Very unique structural problems that he had to address there. So, you know, we hire young folks and we grow them. We want to make sure that you all have an opportunity to build your legacy in some of those engineering areas there. So we get involved in the engineering side, the procurement, we buy the equipment, all of those kind of complex components that go in, the construction, you kind of know that side of it. And then we start the facilities up. We have a whole group of people that know how to get things started for our clients. Now, what's in it for you? Let's go to the next slide here. You know, for those of you that explore your options while you're in school, there are two paths to go. One is to become a design engineer. Very gratifying to get involved. You start out as an intern, you probably get involved in some BIM work, some drafting kinds of things, modeling, that kind of thing. As you grow in your responsibilities, you'll be involved in project planning meetings, layout meetings, the design reviews, the checking and all of that of design. You know, you're going to end up developing the guidelines. Many of the things that we do are performance-based. They're not prescriptive like your standards that you learn in school, but you actually have to develop the guidelines and the standards based on good engineering principles. So, you know, you get to that level, that more senior level in the design engineering track, and then you're going to be involved in managing design teams. And I was just looking through one of the people I'm putting involved in a training program. I think she leads like 135 engineers. I think she's been with us 7 years. So you can kind of see how the opportunities are there to grow and keep doing design and keep your fingers in design, but also lead and go in it. So needless to say, we want to instill some of those leadership talents and make you aware of those while you're in school, learning to be a great engineer. The other side you can go is the construction or field engineering side. Let's go to the next slide here. And the field or the office engineer are more related to being out in the field on the projects. If you like being outside and you like that side of it, then this is the angle that you want to go. And we've got, I think we had a couple of women who came up and talked about a day in their life, and both of them kind of started out in design. One is in a design field, but in supporting the field in construction. And one of them moved over to be more in the field engineering side. She found that she really liked being out making decisions out close to the work face. And so you can see in terms of preparing the work plans and the quality control and making sure that we're tracking our progress on something, planning for the kinds of and selecting the equipment that we use, and then making sure that we keep everybody safe. Everybody goes home every day safely. That's a big value that we have at Kiewit. And we want to continue to inspire people to look ahead, plan ahead, and not react to things, because that's where people get hurt. So the field or office engineers are the ones doing that. So let's move on to the next slide here, Chris, and I'll just kind of wrap up. I thought one of the things I might do here is talk a little bit about the perspective from a couple students that have been in the program this year. Zoe Kresek and Zoe, you're a KIE drainage intern coming up this summer, right? You're a civil engineering student. I wondered if you could, just describe a little bit about what the program had for an impact for you.
So I've been a part of the program for, this is my second year now.
You'll have to speak up a little bit louder.
So this is my second year with the Kiewit program. And some of the main things that Kiewit has really helped me with is networking. They've hosted multiple events where I can meet people and talk to people who are actually in the industry. And that's always been a really big fear of mine, is kind of talking to other people in general. So getting experience talking and just asking any sort of questions has really been helpful. But also, I think the main other thing that was really great about this program is the site visits, because for a while last semester I was unsure of what I wanted to emphasize in, but going and seeing like the C70 and the water site tours, those are really helpful in helping me decide. And so that in the end led me to choose water as my emphasis.
Can kind of help you understand what you would do when you get out of school. And I hope that it comes back the other way to your class, and it can bring some of those observations, experience back in and share with the other students in the class too. Emma Andreessen's a CE, I think, in structures. And I believe you're gonna work for us as an intern this summer, right, at KIE down there. Wonder if you could just describe a little bit. You're involved in the mentoring program that we've had. How has that worked, and what did you get out of that?
Yeah, so the mentorship program is a really cool component about the Kiewit Design-Build program. You're paired with a mentor who is a young engineer within Kiewit, and this mentor can talk with you about a variety of topics. We've gone over salary, 401k, paid time off, stuff that you not really get in school, and it's more of a company perspective. And then we also go and talk about real life projects that he's working on. My mentor is Akshay. He's a structural engineer in the Lone Tree office in Denver. We talked about the bridge he's building in Texas and designing currently, in the course of that project and how it's developed over the several months that he's been working on it. And then we just talk about more general stuff like presenting and how to format your resume correctly and interview. So you just get this wide range of topics that you don't often specifically talk about in your classes. And it's a really, really cool and unique perspective.
Yeah, I think we get something out of this as well, because we get to understand what your concerns and what your interests are. I think the mentoring, well, we want it to benefit you primarily. We also learn how to be a better employer in it. And I think I've talked to Claudia, who's organized the various mentors, and we get a lot back out of this from all of you too. So, often find that there's a reverse mentoring going on here. It's you're supposed to be the mentee, but I think you also help our folks understand and are able to work better with young engineers as well through this. And what else? I'm going to leave it open to you. Anything else that you'd add about the program? Things that, add value, or things that, challenges that you faced being part of the program, fitting some of the activities in, or anything?
Yeah, so actually, I was given the opportunity to participate in the Women in Engineering and Construction Leadership Conference back in November, and I think this was probably one of the best experiences that I've had with the program. So back in November, I was selected to go down to the Kiewit headquarters in Omaha, and they put on a conference where they brought in female leaders within Kiewit, and they talked about their experiences, how the challenges they've faced, how they've gotten to where they've gotten to, and gave us advice and talked to us. And it was one of the most eye-opening and great experiences that I've had at CU, and I made a lot of really good connections there, and yeah, I really enjoyed it.
You met other women engineers from a lot of other schools too, right? So, you're not going into this industry alone.
We all connected on LinkedIn, so it was perfect.
Yeah, neat. Zoe, how about you?
I'd say the main thing, this year specifically, was just the chance to interview for an internship, which I had been looking for and hoping for since everything with COVID happened and my previous internships got canceled. And just learning more about Kiewit and the industry in general has really helped me, and I'm glad this program has honestly been one of the greatest opportunities here at CU.
Yeah. Well, and if you're selected as a scholar here, you're going to get a priority for getting interviewed for our internships. We've got a process that we're trying to streamline a little bit, make it a little quicker, so that, if you're ready, we're going to be probably getting out and making our offers for internships in the fall during a cycle there. So that I think is good, but it allows you to, kind of put that on the back burner. Then you can focus on classwork and paying the bills other ways. And then, you're going to have some good experiences in the summer. I think the internship that you get, whether it's with us or someone else, is some of the most valuable experience that you're going to have, because at this point you're learning kind of what you want to do and what you don't want to do, situations, you learn how to navigate them, and it's pretty low risk, because if something doesn't work out, you get to start over the next year anyway. So I encourage you all to pursue those internships. So I want to be cognizant of your time. I know you're all students, so let's go on to the next slide here real quick. And thank you, Zoe and Emma. I appreciate your comments, and we have questions that you may get more than I do. We have some job tours that we do, and I think these are one of the most fun things that we get to do with the scholars. And I try to get out if I can to go along on these. I have known your dean for many, many years as he finished his PhD. In fact, it goes back that long. Great guy, and I know he's really committed. He is the one that really made this happen with Kiewit. He approached us and said, I think we'd be a good partnership with Colorado Boulder in this. And so these internships, by the way, this isn't yoga, this is our stretch and flex, but it's all part of our culture of making sure that even the little things, we get you prepared when you go out and walk a site, that you're not going to get hurt. So with that, what I'd like to do is just kind of open it up if there are a few questions that I could take, and answer anything else. Go to the next slide here, Chris, and I think there may be one more slide here. Yeah, or just leave that last one up here. I just mentioned I can't do any kind of a talk, the last slide, Chris. I can't do any kind of a talk without at least talking about our core values. It's real simple to remember: PIES, people, integrity, excellence, and stewardship. I mean, that's what we're all about. And most everything we do, we can tie back to that. All of the way we treat people, we develop people. We spend 7 times more than the industry on training and development. And I'm very passionate about it, but all of our senior managers are passionate about it as well. So our core values really are things that we live by. We wrote them down after we discovered what we were.
I want to thank Kiewit for sponsoring this program. Jim, I want to thank you for your words of wisdom here and also for your support for this program. And then I want to thank students for coming, both the existing cohort and new applicants. Thank you very much for coming. If anybody has any questions about applications, you can reach out to me. My email is sensney@colorado.edu, or Alex Dietrich, and her email is on the application. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up. And again, thank you all for your time.